Vasil Hardfork is planned to launch in June and is named after Vasil, a Hungarian mathematician who was a member of the Cardano community and was particularly influential to Charles himself. According to Hoskinson, the Vasil Hardfork is going to bring in a lot of Plutus improvements that people like the CDA recommend and what we've learned with working with the Plutus developers. This will allow major projects like the Light wallets to move forwards, and other dApps too. Therefore, with more dApps and protocols actually being able to function on Cardano, there is no doubt that Cardano's TVL will continue to rise. The recent enabling of smart contracts on Cardano has led to a significant increase in user activity. Simultaneously, average transaction sizes grew due to code carrying script transactions, with the first decentralized finance DeFi applications now deployed on the Cardano ecosystem, and more on the way. We can expect this trend to continue. To keep up with this elevated demand, the system's current transaction throughput must be increased. An obvious approach to increase transaction throughput is to increase the block size limit to fit more transactions per block. Block size has already been increased by 25% this year, from 64 kilobytes to its current 80 kilobytes, and we anticipate further increases. However, there is a limit on how large a block can be securely maintained by a ledger consensus protocol if the block production rate is to be kept at the current level. To achieve high throughput without compromising the security of the system, additional measures are required.
Here is the technical jargon, so I suggest you read along with the article to fully understand.
Network diffusion and validation within the P=5 seconds budget. Consider the above figure 1 depicting in a simplified way how block propagation works in the network. The block producer sends their new block header to peer 1, the white H box, occupying both nodes' network links during the time span, indicated by the white H box. Peer 1 then validates the header involving local computation during the time span indicated by the grey HV box. If the header is valid, i.e. the header proves eligible block leadership, etc., the block body is downloaded by peer 1, the white B box, again occupying both nodes' network links. Finally, peer 1 validates the block body, the grey BV box, and only if the block body is also valid, peer 1 is ready to propagate the block to the other peers along the lines of what was just described. The fortunate side effect of this mode of operation is that a single node CPU and network link is only utilized during a small fraction of 5-second process, while remaining mostly idle during the diffusion pipelining. Now, reconsidering figure 1, we see that all nodes' actions are performed in a strict sequence. Thus, the process needs to fit the time required by a single node multiplied by the number of hops of the peer-to-peer path. Observe that while this is necessary for network transmission, it is not for block validation. Consider figure 2. By allowing blocks to be propagated before full validation has taken place, we can exclude repeated block validation from the propagation path. As soon as peer 1 has received the block body, the B box, it can already start propagating the block concurrently to validating the block body, etc. In contrast to the scheme in figure 1, process's budget only needs to account for block validation once. This results in higher time budget for peer-to-peer network transmission and or body validation, thus allowing for higher transaction throughput. For easy comparison to figure 1, gain is illustrated by a larger body validation, BV, in the budget. To conclude, diffusion pipelining increases the budget for block propagation and validation times within the process limit, allowing for larger blocks and thus increased transaction throughput while leaving the consensus rules unchanged. It promises to substantially increase throughput while being achievable by minimally invasive changes to the system, and is thus an excellent candidate for implementation in the short term. Asynchronous validation. The idea behind diffusion pipelining delayed body validation can be taken to the extreme. A new block is still required to arrive within time of the process, but we do not demand that its body validation be completed within the time of a process. We refer to this as asynchronous validation. In Table 1, we present these throughput estimates in transactions per second, TPS. It's easy to think of the crypto space as a whole with this comparison. At its inception, Bitcoin dominance was extremely high, actually 100% for a while. But as the space grew as a whole, Bitcoin dominance continued to drop, which overall was healthy for crypto. With that being said, the fall of SundaeSwap's dominance only means that other Cardano dApps and protocols are starting to contribute more to the TVL. Speaking to Charles's point in the above tweet, most projects on the Cardano's ecosystem aren't even contributing to the TVL yet. This can be directly measured by examining how many projects are contributing to it and how many projects are planned or currently being worked on in the ecosystem. Currently, there are only 6 projects in the Cardano ecosystem that are contributing to the TVL. When looking at other chains that are ranked the highest on DeFi Llama, there are tens and even hundreds of protocols contributing to their TVLs. In the coming months, this may also be true for Cardano.